Hello everyone, my name is Roya and today I'm going to be telling you all about the books that I read in the latter half of August. So I did end up reading six books. We're going to start with, of course, the one that is not a new release because pretty much all of the rest of these are with how many, arcs I have from different things. But anyway, so this is The Path of Daggers by Robert Jordan, which is the 8th book in the Wheel of Time series. This is probably one of my least favorite ones. This might actually be my least favorite one because I feel like not as much happened in it. It kind of felt like the second Dune book where, it's between two books that actually have stuff happen, but mostly it's about people talking. Not sure how I feel about this one yet, but you can definitely tune into our live show, which is September 1st. I also read A Very Large Expanse of Sea by Tahereh Mafi this half of the month, and I am so excited that I even got this book at all. It was given to me by a good Samaritan, the creator of the Bookish Wish hashtag, Julianne, so I will leave a link to her Twitter down below. She saw that I was asking if anyone had this arc because I'm a Persian reviewer and I wanted to read this, and she was like, oh, I have it, so she just sent it to me, and it's really awesome. So anyway, this is about a girl named Shireen who is Iranian American and she's Muslim, so she wears a hijab, and she is just so used to, at this point, people making racist remarks at her or just whatever, just stereotyping her. So she's in high school and she doesn't even make friends or anything because not only does she move to a different city pretty much every year, but she also just is so tired of people not understanding her that she doesn't bother to learn people's names or even notice people in her class at all. So then she falls in love with a boy named Ocean, who's just your typical just dude. He's popular and all kinds of stuff, and she kind of thinks like, what is up with this dude? He's not the kind of person who would be interested in me. So what's his deal? And she doesn't feel like she can be with him because she doesn't want people to have an issue with him, and he doesn't think that they would, but that's white privilege for you. This takes place in the aftermath of the September 11th terrorist attacks, and I was just a little bit younger than this main character when they happened, and so this kind of takes place in kind of the decade that I was a teenager in as well, where you talked on AOL Instant Messenger, and you actually had a phone that had minutes, and that was pretty typical. Most people didn't just text each other because you were charged per text, all kinds of stuff. So I thought it was really awesome to read a book like that, because so often what puts me off of contemporaries, of YA contemporaries that are mostly set in a school, is just the fact that it's so, so different from how I grew up, where it's kind of weird to me that every kid has a smartphone and whatnot, so it's nice to read one that doesn't. But anyway, so I do have a full review of this going up this month, actually. This comes out in October, but I'm actually doing a double book review of this and Here to Stay by Sara Farizan because they do have a lot of similar themes, and it made sense since I do want to review both of them. I did a double book review, so keep an eye out for that. I also read Give the Dark My Love by Beth Revis, and this is about a girl named Nedra who grows up in kind of a, poor village type of area, but she goes to a prestigious university because she really wants to stop the plague that is killing a lot of people. And she's the only one there who really cares about the issue. She doesn't care about the prestige of going there. She's the only one there who's not like a rich kid or whatever, or whose parents want them to go there. She has one goal in mind, and that is stop the plague, however she can do that, however she can help with that. So she volunteers at the hospital, even though her classmates don't want to because they are afraid of catching the plague. She has no fear of catching the plague. If she can do anything to stop the plague, she's gonna do it. So she's a very fascinating character that way. So then anyway, she falls in love with a classmate of hers named Gray, and they both kind of suffer repercussions from their classmates who are mean, and they have all these judgments about Nedra, but she doesn't care. She just wants to stop the plague. So the magic system in this is really awesome. The romance in this is great as well, because the dynamic between Nedra and Gray is so nice to read about. It's so cool. They're such a good pairing. And also Nedra is totally the epitome of a morally gray character that I just love to see, because she gets into alchemy and whatnot. She's studying that to help in stopping the plague, help people not feel as much pain, etc., etc. And then she gets into necromancy and basically ends up kind of almost becoming what she is out there to stop in the first place. So her intentions are good, but she has all these like bad things happen as a result as well. So it's really fascinating, and this is such a good book, and I am so excited to read the rest of the series. Then I also read The Light Between Worlds by Laura Weymouth. I gave my copy to this one in exchange for a different book, but I read it first because that person just wanted it and I wanted what they had. So I was like, oh, hey, I'll just read this really quick and send it to you. So anyway, that's what I did. It's kind of like the aftermath of the kids from Narnia. They go to Narnia, they come back, and then they have to deal with the non-magicalness of the real world. So it follows these three siblings who, during World War II, they went to a Narnia-esque place. They came back, and the two sisters who were very close, one of them is happy to be back home. She doesn't care. The other one is really upset that she's not in the magical world anymore, and she's really sad, and she just wants to be back there again. And they lived there for years, all of that stuff. So this was a very fascinating concept, but I did feel like a lot of it was missing, and I felt like we were missing a lot of the what made that world so special and everything. So it did have a very interesting premise that I was really fascinated by. But ultimately it kind of just read like an adult historical fiction instead of a YA fantasy / whatever. So I did feel like some things were missing about it, but I did really like the concept, so that is definitely something. Then I read Beasts, the Beginning of the End, I guess, by Anna Levely, and Anna Levely is one of my best friends, and she just published this book, and this is basically a sci-fi dystopian that takes place in a world where all animals are extinct. It's really far in the future, and people are eating people. So Anna has made it her mission to convert as many people to veganism as possible. So I have been a vegetarian for 12 years now, 11 and a half years, something like that. During Christmas, it'll be 12 years. So if I were not a vegetarian already, this book would have made me one, because it is very brutal, not for the faint of heart at all. People being slaughtered in it in really terrible ways, all kinds of stuff. So it is a very fascinating book in so many ways, and I do have a full review up of this, so I will leave that linked down below and you should totally check it out. What goes up must come down. I, unfortunately, somehow, read Becoming the Dragon by Alex Sapegin, and this was something that I only read because I found a site that lets you review books for money, between like $5 and $60 a pop. So I thought, oh, this would be such a great way to make extra money right now. So, but they do have you do one book review for them for free. So, but the selections that they have for you to review for free are not great. So this one sounded interesting because it is a fantasy book, and it was originally written in Russian, and so that drew me in. But unfortunately, it really had no actual plot. Like throughout the story, there is a distinct lack of any actual goal that the main character is trying to accomplish in any real way. So It basically starts off taking place in the real world. It's about this kid who was struck by lightning and he can't use a computer anymore because it'll just go on the fritz, basically. So he ends up going to a fantasy world where eventually he becomes a dragon, and that's not a spoiler, it's pretty obvious. But anyway, a lot of stuff happens in it, and there is no actual plot at that point. I mean, there's some political intrigue going on, sort of, but like any world building and any character development at all kind of happens in chapters that the main character is not in. And so I felt like it really could have been improved upon. It did have some interesting ideas, but ultimately I was not a fan of this book. I think that I think I could see some people enjoying it more than me. If you're just looking for something that, if you're just bored one day and you pick up this book, like, there's nothing terrible about it. I just personally was not a fan. So anyway, those are the books that I read in the second half of August. Let me know if you've read any of these, have thoughts on them, etc., etc., and I will see you soon with a new video. Bye!